Prince Harry just can't catch a break. Fresh off his $12 million tabloid victory, he's facing his biggest crisis yet. Meghan's being accused of planning a divorce book. Their Netflix projects are falling apart, and even their good deeds are being called publicity stunts. Insiders say they're struggling and in pain, and that's not even the worst part. Here's the real story of how it all went wrong. Prince Harry was born on September 15, 1984, at 4:20 p.m. in London. He was the second son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, and his birth was big news around the world. From the start, he lived at Kensington Palace, a grand royal residence with beautiful gardens and hidden hallways. Harry and his brother William grew up exploring the palace, flying kites on the rooftop, and playing in private gardens. For most kids, a park was their playground, but for Harry, it was a palace full of secrets to discover. Even though Harry's home was luxurious, his mother, Princess Diana, wanted his life to feel normal. She decorated their family apartment with a mix of old and modern furniture to make it comfortable. And Harry's room looked like any other kid's. It had posters of his favorite sports teams and action figures. But being a royal meant life was never entirely normal. There were always staff around and security guards keeping watch. Harry started school inside the palace, where he could safely play with other kids. Later, when he went to school outside the palace, he always had bodyguards with him. Despite the fancy setting, living in a palace wasn't all fun. Paparazzi were always outside, trying to take photos. This constant attention made Harry's childhood feel more restricted, like being in a gilded cage. Still, he had happy memories of the palace and carried those with him as he grew older. Diana was a hands-on mom, which was different from how royal parents usually were. She gave Harry and William lots of hugs and made sure they experienced life outside their royal bubble. She took them to amusement parks, fast food restaurants, and even on public buses. One day, Diana brought Harry and William to a homelessness charity, so they could see what life was like for people who weren't as fortunate. Harry later said it was scary at first, but it helped him understand the world better. Diana also wanted to be there for her kids every day, taking them to school and reading them bedtime stories, even though it wasn't what royals usually did. When Harry grew older, he wanted to get away from the constant pressure of being a prince. In 2005, he joined the army and trained at Sandhurst. For Harry, it was a fresh start and a chance to be treated like everyone else. The training was tough, with long marches, obstacle courses, and weapons practice, but he pushed through. Even though he was a prince, he didn't get special treatment. He lived with the other soldiers, followed strict rules, and learned discipline. On one training exercise, he almost fell off a cliff, but his team saved him. Moments like that made him feel part of something real. In 2006, Harry graduated as an officer and became part of the Blues and Royals Regiment. Soon after, he trained to serve in Afghanistan, where he worked as a forward air controller. His first tour there, in 2007, was secret to protect him and his team. When the media found out, he had to come home early, which upset him. Determined to return, Harry trained as an Apache helicopter pilot and went back to Afghanistan in 2012. This time, he flew missions and helped ground troops. Later, Harry shared that he struggled with the emotional weight of his time in combat, but he felt proud to have served. Harry's younger years weren't without problems. He got caught up in scandals, like the time he wore a Nazi costume to a party in 2005, which caused outrage. At 16, he was caught drinking and smoking cannabis, so his father sent him to a rehab center for a day to show him the dangers of addiction. He also clashed with paparazzi outside nightclubs and had a reputation for partying too hard. Harry's wild side made headlines often, but he was also a young man trying to figure out his place in the world. Prince Harry's life has been shaped by both immense challenges and his personal growth. One of the biggest struggles came after the tragic loss of his mother, Princess Diana, when he was only 12 years old. This loss changed everything for him. In an interview in 2017, Harry admitted he shut off all his emotions for nearly 20 years after her death. By his late 20s, things became overwhelming. He often felt like he was close to breaking down completely. Around this time, his rebellious behavior, like partying and breaking royal rules, was in the spotlight. Looking back, Harry said this behavior was his way of trying to deal with the pain he had buried for so long. On top of this, being a prince came with huge expectations. Harry often felt like he didn't have a clear role. As the spare to his brother William's heir, he felt pressure to prove his worth, while always being compared to William. This feeling of being second shaped much of his life, and he even named his memoir Spare, because of how deeply it affected him. For a while, Harry found some escape by joining the military. In 2005, he began serving and later went to Afghanistan twice. But being a soldier came with its own trauma. In his memoir, Harry revealed he had killed 25 Taliban fighters during his service, something that brought both criticism and concerns about his safety. After returning from Afghanistan, Harry's mental health struggles became harder to ignore. In 2013, his brother William and others close to him encouraged him to get help. Harry started therapy and said it was a slow process of learning to deal with his feelings rather than avoiding them. During this tough time, Harry also admitted he turned to alcohol and drugs to cope. He shared how he would drink heavily on weekends, not because he enjoyed it, but to numb his emotions. In his early 20s, he also tried cocaine, which he described as something he did socially that made him feel different. Anxiety also became a big part of Harry's struggles. He often felt panicked at royal events, describing it as feeling like a washing machine was churning inside him. This anxiety was made worse by his memories of how the media treated his mother. Watching Diana constantly chased by paparazzi left him with a deep fear and mistrust of the press. Over time, Harry began speaking openly about mental health, using his own struggles to help others. In 2016, he joined William and Kate Middleton to launch the Heads Together campaign, which focused on breaking the stigma around mental health. This marked a turning point for Harry, showing a new side of him as someone passionate about helping others. Harry's romantic relationships were also deeply shaped by his royal life. He met Chelsea Davy in South Africa when he was 19. She was his first serious girlfriend, and their relationship lasted 7 years, though it wasn't easy. The media followed them everywhere, which made Chelsea feel trapped. She once returned to Zimbabwe to escape the pressure. Even though they tried to make it work, they broke up for good in 2011. Chelsea told Harry she couldn't handle the idea of living as a royal, especially after experiencing the attention at William and Kate's wedding. After Chelsea, Harry dated actress Cressida Bonas, who was introduced to him by Princess Eugenie in 2012. Cressida's carefree personality drew Harry in, and they dated for 2 years. But, like Chelsea, Cressida struggled with the media and the pressure of possibly becoming a royal. They broke up in 2014, though she stayed on good terms with Harry. She even attended his wedding to Meghan Markle in 2018, showing they had ended things amicably. Harry's life changed forever when he met Meghan in 2016. A mutual friend set them up on a blind date, and Harry later said he knew from their very first meeting that Meghan was the one. They kept their relationship private for several months, but once the news broke, the media attention was relentless. Harry even released a statement defending Meghan against harassment. Despite the challenges, their bond grew stronger. In 2017, Harry proposed at their home during a simple roast chicken dinner. He gave Meghan a ring with diamonds from his mother Diana's collection, making it incredibly meaningful. Their wedding in May 2018 was a global event, watched by nearly 2 billion people. Meghan walked partway down the aisle on her own before Prince Charles joined her. Her dress was simple and elegant, with a long veil embroidered with flowers representing Commonwealth countries. The ceremony combined British traditions with touches of Meghan's American culture, like a passionate sermon by Reverend Michael Curry and a gospel choir performance of Stand By Me. Guests included celebrities like Oprah Winfrey and George Clooney, adding even more glamour. Harry and Meghan's love was obvious throughout, especially when Harry whispered to Meghan at the altar, "You look amazing." But life after the wedding wasn't as smooth. Media criticism of Meghan began almost immediately. Reports of tension between Meghan and Kate Middleton surfaced, with rumors that Meghan made Kate cry during a dress fitting. Meghan later revealed it was actually the other way around. Meghan's baby shower in 2019 also faced backlash for being too extravagant, even though her friends paid for it. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle didn't decide to step back from the royal family all at once. It happened slowly as problems grew over time. Things got worse on Christmas Day 2018 when Prince William and Kate refused to talk to Harry and Meghan during the royal family's walk to church. This moment, seen by many, showed how bad things had become between the brothers. Behind the scenes, it was even harder. harder. In November 2018, Meghan and Kate argued during a bridesmaid dress fitting for Princess Charlotte. Some said Meghan made Kate cry, but Meghan later said it was the other way around. This argument left a lasting rift between the couples. By June 2019, Harry and Meghan decided to break away from the charity they shared with William and Kate. It was clear the gap between them was growing. Things hit a turning point in October 2019 during Harry and Meghan's trip to Southern Africa. In an interview, Meghan spoke openly about struggling with royal life. She said, "Not many people have asked if I'm okay." Harry also admitted his relationship with William wasn't the same, saying, "We're on different paths." This honesty shocked the royal family, who always kept personal issues private. By December, Harry and Meghan went to Canada for a 6-week break. They didn't join the Queen's Christmas lunch or the family gathering at Sandringham. Around the same time, a photo was released showing the Queen with Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince George, the direct heirs to the throne. Harry wasn't in the picture, and this hurt him deeply. It made him feel like he no longer had a real place in the family and pushed him to find a new path. On January 8, 2020, Harry and Meghan made their decision public. They posted on Instagram saying they wanted to step back as senior royals and become financially independent. This post surprised everyone, even the royal family. Just 20 minutes before the announcement, Buckingham Palace had said talks about Harry and Meghan's future were just starting. This made it clear there was little communication within the family. The couple's statement explained they wanted to balance time between the UK and North America while still supporting the Queen, but it didn't include many details, leaving people with lots of questions. The media called it Megxit, and it became a worldwide story. Newspapers had dramatic headlines like "They didn't even tell the Queen." The couple's website, which had more details, crashed because so many people wanted to read it. 5 days later, on January 13, 2020, the Queen called a family meeting at Sandringham, known as the Sandringham Summit. Only close family attended: Harry, William, Charles, and the Queen. Meghan joined by video from Canada. The meeting lasted over 2 hours, and tensions were high. William was so upset he skipped lunch before the talks. The Queen insisted this was a family matter and wanted no aides involved. The talks covered big issues like Harry and Meghan's roles, titles, finances, and security. One major issue was their use of the Sussex royal name. The Queen said they couldn't use royal if they weren't working royals. Another issue was money. Harry and Meghan didn't want public funds, but still received income from Prince Charles. In the end, it was decided they wouldn't use public money and would pay back the £2.4 million spent on renovating Frogmore Cottage. After the meeting, the Queen released a statement saying she supported Harry and Meghan's choice to live a more independent life, but she also made it clear there were still unresolved issues. This decision wasn't easy for Harry. In his memoir, Spare, he wrote about feeling anxious and even having panic attacks before their final royal events. One of the hardest losses for Harry was giving up his honorary military titles, especially as Captain General of the Royal Marine. This role was a great source of pride for him after serving in Afghanistan. Losing it made him feel rejected, and it hurt deeply. Despite all the challenges, Harry and Meghan stayed determined to create a new life together. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made a big decision in March 2020 to move to California. They secretly left Canada on March 14th, just before the US-Canada border closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At first, they stayed in a mansion owned by Tyler Perry in Beverly Hills. Later, in August, they bought a home in Montecito, Santa Barbara, for $14.65 million. Their move wasn't easy. Right after they arrived, Donald Trump, who was president at the time, said the U.S. wouldn't pay for their security. This meant Harry and Meghan had to quickly arrange private security, which was very expensive. It was also a tough time because the pandemic lockdowns had started, leaving them isolated and without much support. Money became a big challenge, too. In a 2021 interview with Oprah, Harry said his family had cut him off financially at the start of 2020. To cover costs, especially for security, they used the money money Harry had inherited from his mother, Princess Diana. That inheritance, about £7 million, became their lifeline since Harry had never been financially independent before. To make money, they started looking for opportunities. Harry joined a company called BetterUp in 2020 as Chief Impact Officer, focusing on mental health. This was new territory for a former royal. Over time, they made deals and took on projects that increased their net worth to about $60 million by 2023. Some people accused them of using their royal titles for money, but others believed they were just trying to make a fresh start. In October 2020, they launched their charity, the Archewell Foundation. They said the name Archie means source of action, and they wanted to focus on making a difference. The launch was delayed because of the pandemic and their busy transition. At first, their website was very simple, which drew mixed reactions. Some liked it, others didn't. One of Archewell's early projects was with World Central Kitchen, a charity started by chef Jose Andres. They worked together to build relief centers in disaster-hit areas, starting with one in Dominica in February 2021. However, Archewell had a slow start financially. In 2020, they raised less than $50,000 and spent more on legal fees than on actual charity work. Things got better in 2021 after a big $10 million donation, and they started more projects. One popular effort was Meghan's 40 by 40 campaign for her 40th birthday in 2021. It encouraged people to give 40 minutes of their time to help women returning to work. Celebrities like Adele supported it, but some wondered if it really made a big impact. By 2023, Archewell expanded into areas like mental health, racial justice, and online safety. They launched programs to help Afghan women resettle in the U.S. and partnered with the NAACP for a Civil Rights Award. Even with these successes, Archewell faced challenges like staff turnover and criticism about how effective it really was. Harry and Meghan also moved into entertainment. In September 2020, they signed a Netflix deal worth up to $100 million to make shows and movies. A few months later, they signed a $25 million podcast deal with Spotify. These deals sparked debate. Some thought they conflicted with their wish for privacy, while others saw them as ways to fund their new life. Their first Netflix project, Heart of Invictus, about the Invictus Games, was announced in 2021, but didn't come out until 2023. The delays made people question their ability to deliver. Their Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan, came out in December 2022. It was a huge success at first, with millions of hours watched, but it also stirred controversy. Some felt it gave a one-sided view and reignited tensions with the royal family. The Spotify deal had its own problems. Meghan's podcast, Archetypes, launched 2 years late in 2022. While it started strong, the deal ended in 2023 after a Spotify executive called them grifters. By 2024, Netflix was reportedly unhappy with their output. An animated show, Pearl, was canceled in 2022 as part of cost cuts. Their most recent project, a documentary about polo, didn't do well when it came out in January 2025. These deals helped them become financially stable, but they also brought new pressure and criticism. Prince William and Prince Harry were once very close, but their relationship has fallen apart over the years. The trouble reportedly started around Christmas 2018, when Harry felt William wasn't making enough effort to welcome Meghan into the royal family. But their problems go back further. In Harry's memoir, Spare, he shared that even as children, their bond was complicated. He claimed William once encouraged him to wear a Nazi uniform to a costume party in 2005, which caused a big scandal. Things got worse after Harry and Meghan's wedding in 2018. By late that year, there were rumors of tension between the brothers. In October 2019, Harry surprised everyone by admitting publicly that he and William were on different paths. The relationship hit a major low in early 2020 when Harry and Meghan announced they were stepping back from royal duties. William reportedly didn't see it coming and was deeply upset. A joint statement denying rumors that William had bullied Harry out of the family was released, but Harry later said he didn't agree to it. One of the most shocking moments came came in Spare, where Harry described a fight with William in 2019. Harry said William called Meghan difficult, rude, and abrasive, which led to an argument. Harry claimed William grabbed him by the collar, broke his necklace, and pushed him to the floor. This physical altercation showed just how bad things had gotten between them. By 2023, their relationship was nearly non-existent. They were seen together for the first time in years at a family funeral, but they reportedly didn't speak. Harry has even referred to William as his arch-nemesis, showing how far apart they've grown. Prince Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles III, has also faced many challenges. Things came to a head in early 2020 when Harry and Meghan decided to step back from their royal roles. The announcement reportedly caught Charles and the rest of the family off guard. In a 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Harry revealed that there was a time when Charles completely stopped taking his calls. He also said he felt let down by his father, believing Charles should understand his struggles since he had been through something similar. The release of Spare in 2023 worsened their relationship. In the book, Harry accused Charles of being emotionally distant and unsupportive during difficult times. He also shared private details, like asking Charles not to marry Camilla. Later that year, when Harry and Meghan were evicted from Frogmore Cottage, Harry reportedly made an emotional call to Charles asking, "Don't you want to see your grandchildren?" This highlighted the deep strain on their family ties. By 2024, communication between Harry and Charles had nearly stopped. Harry's attempts to reach out, even about Charles's health after his cancer diagnosis, were reportedly ignored. This left Harry feeling even more distant from his family. Despite the ongoing tension, there have been brief moments where they tried to reconnect. In February 2024, Harry flew to the UK to meet Charles after his diagnosis, but their conversation lasted only 45 minutes, and they haven't communicated much since. Prince Harry fought hard against the British tabloids, and on January 22, 2025, he finally won a big battle. He received over £10 million, about $12 million, from Rupert Murdoch's News Group newspapers, NGN. This was one of the biggest settlements ever in British media history. The tabloids had invaded Harry's privacy from 1996 to 2011, covering the years when he was growing up and dealing with the loss of his mother, Princess Diana. Hours before the trial began, NGN apologized completely. They admitted to phone hacking, spying on him, and misusing his personal information. The apology was not just for what they did to Harry. It also included the pain their actions caused to his late mother, Princess Diana. This was shocking because The Sun, one of Murdoch's tabloids, had always denied doing anything wrong. For Harry, this was about more than just winning money. His lawyer, David Sherborne, said it was about holding the tabloids accountable, not only for Harry, but for over 1,300 other victims of similar crimes. Harry had made it clear he wanted justice, and this settlement was a step toward that goal. This case was one of 3 lawsuits Harry filed against British tabloids. It showed how personal and important this fight was for him. He was willing to take risks and go to trial if needed. Although the trial didn't happen, the settlement forced the tabloids to admit their mistakes publicly, which was what Harry wanted most. The phone hacking scandal that Harry was fighting against started years ago. In 2011, it was revealed that reporters at News of the World, another Murdoch-owned tabloid, hacked the phone of Millie Dowler, a 13-year-old girl who had been murdered. This caused outrage and led to the newspaper shutting down after 168 years. It also exposed illegal practices in many other tabloids. Harry's win against NGN was important because it was the first time they admitted wrongdoing at The Sun. Their spying covered some of the hardest years in Harry's life, including the time after Princess Diana's death. The £10 million payment was huge, but for Harry, the public apology meant more. He wanted to make sure the media couldn't continue hurting people without consequences. This wasn't the first time Harry won a case like this. In December 2023, he sued Mirror Group newspapers and won £140,600 for phone hacking. These wins sent a strong message to the tabloids. Their illegal actions would no longer be ignored. Harry's fight has not only made a difference for him, but has also inspired others to stand up against the tabloids and demand justice. However, Vanity Fair recently caused a stir with a story about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. It talked about a rumor that Meghan's team had a conversation with a publisher about writing a book. This book wasn't about her first marriage to Trevor Engelson, which ended in 2014. Instead, it was supposedly about life after a potential divorce from Harry. But here's the catch. There was no book, no deal, no manuscript. Nothing was actually in the works. One insider even said that if this conversation happened, it would have been the publisher approaching Meghan, not the other way around. Vanity Fair also confirmed that Meghan and Harry are still happily married, and other sources emphasized how in love they are. Despite this, the story upset Harry and Meghan. An old friend of Harry's spoke to the Daily Beast, calling the article unfair. The friend couldn't believe the contradictions, talking about a divorce that didn't exist and a book that wasn't real, all while saying the couple was in love. They added that the story made an already tough time even worse for the pair. The couple has been struggling with all the rumors and criticism. Meghan and Harry are reportedly in pain and trying to deal with everything being said about them. Meghan has worked hard to rebuild her public image, but this article felt like a step backward. Kinsey Schofield, a commentator, said she heard from Los Angeles sources that Meghan and Harry were upset by the story. She also said things are rough for them right now, especially after Netflix postponed Meghan's show. According to her, the delay was Netflix's decision, and it added to the couple's frustrations. On top of that, their recent visit to an evacuation center during the Los Angeles wildfires caused more backlash. Meghan and Harry spent just 17 minutes there with the mayor of Pasadena, and critics accused them of using the tragedy for publicity. Some called them disaster tourists. Actor Justine Bateman and others criticized the visit, and outspoken British TV host Piers Morgan said it looked like self-promotion. All of this is taking a toll on Meghan and Harry. They're dealing with personal struggles, bad press, and harsh public criticism. The Vanity Fair story, along with the backlash from their wildfire visit, has left them in a tough spot.